missions, and his nonfiction work focuses on local and regional Florida flora and fauna as well. Local, regional flora and fauna. See that 10 times quick. His works have been published. He's been self-published and has been a featured author on C-SPAN's Book TV in a program titled Cities Tour in 2014. And excerpts from his books have been featured in the Florida Weekly, the Island Reporter, the Mullet Rapper, and the Venice Gondolier. And so he's been read and broadcast widely. And in addition to his writing career, he's become a featured speaker and lecturer, including with Rhodes Scholars, formerly Elder Hospital. And for more than 20 years he's been doing that. And he's given presentations for a wide variety of organizations in our neighborhood, including the Conservancy of Southwest Florida, the Harvard Club, the Daughters of the American Revolution, Sanibel Audubon, and Sierra Club, and libraries throughout Southwest Florida. And I believe he has brought some books with him on the table over there, so maybe a chance to take a look, or if you haven't yet, before you depart tonight, have a look. But I would like you to welcome with me for our presentation of Wild Places in Southwest Florida, and Charles Sobczak.
Well, it is a true honor to speak to an Audubon group. I'm not going to have to ID any of the birds. I'm going to leave that up to you. But no, I'd like to thank Julie, and I'd like to thank Margaret for bringing me here. This particular presentation I haven't done in a while. I hope I remember all these wild places. But this is actually geared more toward people who are not familiar with the counties. We're going to start with Greetings from Florida. I always love these. They're just the best. But this entire presentation is based on a book that was originally published in 2011 and kind of came about because of the Great Recession. I was in real estate at 2008, 2009. There was no real estate. So Molly, my lovely bride over there, and I went out with friends and went to all kinds of places to see the best wild places in each county that we could find with some limitations. But I love, and so that's the background to the Living Gulf Coast. I had already published a book called Living Sanibel, and that sold like wildfire, but once you took it out of Sanibel, it wasn't the same. So it covers 6 counties, Sarasota, Charlotte, Lee, Collier, Glades, and Henry. And I do have the OK Slough, which is just right down here. I just love that place. That's very wild and very big. But this is one of my favorite sayings. He was an environmentalist from Senegal who wrote this: in the end, we will conserve only what we love. We love only what we understand, and we understand only what we are taught. So when I talk about this being meet your neighbors, what I did, a lot of people think all I did is go into Wikipedia and copy and paste. That's pretty much the whole book. No, just kidding. What I did do is, I'm sure all of you are familiar with the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. Sure. Okay, so one of the cool things about the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, they always focused on what was truly kind of unique about each animal. And so what I did here, this, of course, you guys know this. This is the wood stork. We were just down in the Pantanal, and it's funny seeing them next to the Jeribou storks, because the Jeribou storks are like this tall, and these look like little sparrows. But so here's the kind of synopsis for every wildlife, and this is a kind of a typical amount of verbiage that they would get. There's the wood stork. The Latin name, most of them are E pluribus unum or derivatives. They're not, believe it or not. Other names, though, it's fine. The nicknames are really fun. They're also known as flinthead, Spanish buzzard. Has anyone ever heard that one, Spanish buzzard?
No.
Yeah, it's an old term for.
I always knew them as ironheads.
I always thought
I didn't get that one, but I did get wood ibis, and they're endangered species. The lifespan is to 18 years. It gives us the weight, the wingspan, when they breed. But I want to read you an excerpt because this is what I focus on when I talk about meet your neighbors. I want you to understand certain aspects of each one of these animals, which is totally unique and amazing. And this is it. Woodstock, this is verbatim out of the book. The woodstock has a unique way of feeding which makes it interesting to observe. It captures its prey using a specialized technique known as grope feeding or tactile location. It prefers to feed in water 6 to 10 inches deep with its long black bills partly open. See them all the time in drainage ditches. That's where they feed a lot. When the fish touches the bird's bill, it snaps shut with an average response time of 25 milliseconds, one of the fastest reflexes found in all vertebrates. To put this number into perspective, humans blink at 330 milliseconds. So a woodstock snaps its bill shut on an unsuspecting minnow 13 times faster than the blink of an eye. Now that's fast. I mean, it's just amazing. And all of these animals have different things. I'm going to start with Lee County, and then we're going to go through all the counties quickly in all of the different places. Lee County has a ton of small nature places. Charlotte County has not a ton of big ones, but they have, oh, it's a little high. Yes, we can lower it just a bit. Oh, that's better. That's good. So you can see there's all kinds of, all the way through V, and everything flows from north to south in the book. But this one here is Gasparilla Island State Park, which is one of the most visited parks in all of Florida. And this photo was taken by Ellen Maltz, and it's that there is not a light in that lighthouse. He's catching the rising sun early morning. Isn't that, it's just an incredible photograph. I mean, you can see the wind is quite brisk. And there you might see these, which are one of our most common gulls, laughing gull, the black-hooded gull. And right next to it, right across the way, is that giant North Captiva. And this is a huge park, Cayacosta State Park. And there you're likely to see one of the endangered indigo snakes. Which, is there a place around here that indigos are fairly common? Because they used to, your house, because I've only seen one in the wild my entire life. They're not all that common. But they're very beautiful snakes. You also might see up at Boca Grande, one of these, they come down for the winter. This is in northern Gannett. But generally speaking, you only see them offshore, and at that, only about 15 miles offshore. And they can come down in quite large numbers. This year I haven't seen many of them, but in the past I've seen a lot of them. You might also see one of these, this is a fish club. I think it's a male. I guess you can tell by the behavior. Now, this is a fun park. It's small, but no one knows about it. It also has, it's Caloosahatchee Regional Park, and across the street, it has a, like a bike. Yeah, they can go, yeah, it's one of the few places. Exactly, it's crazy, it's kind of fun. And then right across the river is Hickey Creek Mitigation Park, which I think is a really crappy name for a park, because it sounds like you need a lawyer to go there. But you don't. It has a wonderful little creek, great kayaking and canoeing. These, of course, are manatee, and we were just talking about them. But whenever I tell people to look for manatees, I always direct them in January or February to the power plant. Yeah. And what I would like to know is how all the manatees told all the other manatees to go to the power plant. Because they can't text. If you look at their hands, they're very hard to text because they're gigantic. So how did they communicate that? Does anybody really, you know, they used to go to the Warm Springs, but now they all, in every single place where there's a power plant in the state of Florida, there's hundreds and hundreds of manatees. And like I said, I don't know how they got there, maybe Uber. Here's one that I did not know about, but I'll tell you, it's close to you, Harns Marsh. How many of you are familiar with Harns Marsh? See, this is not a barn. This is cheating. You guys are cheating. Normal people don't know about by the Sandcat Audubon, and I had no idea how many birds would be there. It's quite packed, and it's what I call an accidental wildlife preserve, because all it is a retention area for the Orange River, so it doesn't flood. Harns Marsh Preserve, there's the thing that gives you the acreage, admission is free, and these symbols tell you can see birding there, hiking, biking, fishing, you can walk your dog on a leash, there's some camping, and snowmobiling. Now, it's only when it snows, so don't get your snow, are there a lot of snowmobiles here in LaBelle? Just gonna say.
It's
But-
also a great area for snail hives.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get to that. So one of the birds you can see there, a lot, are limpkins, and you know, the swamp screamers. And as a matter of fact, we just saw a whole bunch of limpkins up in Paynes Prairie, which is another great park. But it's almost a sure bet, if you go to Harns Marsh, that you're gonna see snail birds. Yes. Yeah, it's crazy, they're there, and we went there once, I had looked for 25 years for a snail cup, everywhere I went. And I pulled into Harns Marsh, closed the door in the car, looked to the right, and saw 6 of them. I said, this would have saved me a long time. So what the book does, though, is it cross-references, like if you want to see a Florida scrub jay, it's gonna send you to Oscar Shear. If you want to see a snail kite, if you look at snail kite in the index, it's gonna send you to Harns Marsh. So any bird that you're looking for, you'll find there. Another great horned owl, this was actually taken at Harns Marsh. Yeah, they're there, and he's obviously flying to another roost, because they hunt at night. Edison Museum is also very good. They've got a huge garden, great place for butterflies, and what a fantastic photo. Another one is the Calusa Nature Center, which has got a little zoo, kind of funky sometimes, but it's very, very pretty. And there you might be lucky enough to see the state butterfly, which is the zebra longwing. I love this next shot because, of course, all of us know this is a great egret.
Great shot.
There's Ellen Maltz again. He's the one who's got the photos up at the airport. And all of the photographers contributed their shots to this because there's no way I could put this book together if I had to buy it. It would have been astronomical. But I like this one because isn't this in our mind's eye how all of us see birds and romanticize? I just want to show you what birds think when they see us. And this one's saying, I think he's got a gun. He's thinking they got a gun. That's not there's a park in Cape Coral, 4 Mile Cove Ecological Park. Not very well known. This little thing out here, you can kayak out there and picnic. They've got a little, it's right on the Caloosahatchee, and it's kind of right in the middle of Cape Coral. And of course, Cape Coral is known for the burrowing owls, and they have the largest population of burrowing owls in the eastern U.S. in the city of Cape Coral, and they're all over. They're really cute, aren't they cute? I don't know what they do in the storm surge, but I'm sure they get out of the burrows. A really great place is 6 Mile Cypress Slough, especially if you're going to wait for somebody who's coming in at the airport. Because it's only about 15 minutes door to door from 6 Mile Cypress to the airport. And it's a great place. When I was there, I saw this is a water snake. It's not a water moccasin. They look like each other because they want people to think they're venomous. But this is from that park. Falling in love with the earth is one of life's great adventures. And boy, that is definitely the case. I did cover the Calusa waterway. It's kind of hard to explain. It's a bunch of different spots you can kayak to within Pine Island Sound, and it's very interesting. Lakes Park in Fort Myers is an excellent place for birding, and probably one of the most reliable places to see this glossy ibis.
Have you been there since the hurricane?
Yes, it's fine. It did fine. It was kind of out of the loop. It was a little too far inland. Bowman, not Bowman's, what is it? Bunch Beach, yes. Bunch Beach, and right at the very tip of Fort Myers Beach is a little tiny park. And this is another really good place where you might be lucky enough to see this guy, which is, yeah, it's a reddish egret, And I love this shot because it shows both the color morphs beautifully. The white, and sometimes I've seen these red ones where they have an occasional white feather, which is really funny. They'll have a pure white feather, but these are the same bird, different color morphs. Like I said, this book came out of living in Sanibel, and had the developers had their way, this is what Sanibel would have looked like. As a matter of fact, South Seas is trying to pretty much do this right now. They've applied for an increase in density of like 600 units. It's a real big fight going on now, but luckily, Sanibel, it never came to that, and it's mostly preserved. About 65% is preserved. I live right here, there's my house. And there's all this preserved behind us, and you can see it's kind of a patchwork quilt, but it really helps. It helps a lot. Of course, this is the way they used to live on Sanibel, and now it's more like this. You know what I'm saying? Now, this wasn't bad, but, you know,
How did
they
they
have
handle the
indoor plumbing
no-see-ums?
here.
Back in those days, how did they handle the no-see-ums?
Oh, they got eaten alive. Well, notice all long sleeve, long pants,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Always,
That was July.
always. And I think they would smear manatee tongue on their faces. You can try that. You don't get your money back, Simon. Don't ask for your money back. Don't come up to.
Maybe they're done,
Yeah, it's dumb hoe. That's quite the little cottage. That actually was on, right in Tarpon Bay. That is and I forget the names of the guys, the colonels and stuff. But anyway, that one, I think I sold that house. I saw one of these on the way here. They just got down. And this to me is arguably the most beautiful bird in Florida, especially in flight. It's like, are you kidding me? And they're so pretty. John Patterson is a biologist for the state out of Miami. He takes a lot of these shots. This was our big crocodile. She had a name. Do you remember her name, Molly? They named her, and I forget it. Anyway, she died. She died of exposure. When it got real cold about 7, 8 years ago, for about a week, she got cold and died. Crocodiles are not like alligators.
Right.
They can only stand, as a matter of fact, Sanibel and Captiva is probably the absolute northern edge of what they can tolerate.
They're so tropical.
But interestingly enough, because one of my books is Alligators, Sharks, and Panthers, there has never been a wild case of a crocodile killing a human in Florida. The alligators, lots of them, because people are so dumb. Really, they're just so dumb. But this one here, my son took this picture, and she used to lay around. Now, you can still see her in Ding. They've got her skeleton. It's beautiful, beautiful display. This is, of course, one of the little tiny ones. What, the snowy plover, right? That's a baby snowy. In life size, it's smaller than this. Yeah, this is like the ostrich size. So, the snowy plover though struggles because its favorite habitat are beaches. And let me think, there's a mammal out of Africa that likes beaches. And they go to college too. Anyway, so this is Ding, taken at dawn. It's just a beautiful shot. Of course, the thing about Ding is you have to go there during the low tides. We had a banner year for birds on Sanibel. Not, I don't know, because of the storm or not, but whatever. We've had some bird parties. We call them bird parties, where they all get together and nail all the minnows on those little dwindling ponds. Oh my goodness, they crush them. We saw one the other day, just half a mile from our house, well over 1,000 egrets and herons. And if you go at low tide, if you go at high tide, you're not going to see anything. You just got to do it. The tide is 2 hours later than St. James City or somewhere up Cape Coral. You got to time it right. Hung Do, one of the photographers, took this. This has ended up being the cover shot. Isn't that just glorious? He was in a blind photographing these roseate spoonbills that were way far away with great big telephoto, and this guy flew in and was almost too close for him to focus. But he got it. Just a great shot. I spoke there. They've got a nice little museum, little display, and of course, I think they even take wildlife from here, don't they?
Yeah.
You bring it to Pearl.
From Clewiston even, Margaret and I do the.
Yeah,
Julie
Julie and I are, we're ambulance drivers.
Yeah, okay, you bring them in. Yeah, I brought them in. Some make it, some don't, but, they do a heck of a job. SCCF, they've got a lot of trails and stuff on Sanibel that are pretty good, and they've got, I don't think they've got their museum put back together, because they got flooded with Milton again. So they got patched up with Ian, and then Milton came.
They spoke 2 months ago?
Oh, did they?
Yes, spoke from. So we got because we kept seeing signs and we didn't know much about them, so she gave a nice overview of SCCF.
Oh, she's, yeah, very, very good. This, of course, is, an extremely rare occurrence on Sanibel. We had a couple of years ago a leatherback turtle, lay eggs, but we are seeing an increase in green turtles. And green turtles they're the favorite ones to eat, because they're vegetarians. And, they were eaten almost into extinction, but they're coming back too. We've not had a leatherback return since this one hatched.
They get huge.
They get, yeah, I've actually seen them offshore. They get to be about 10, 12 feet long, and can weigh, I think, up to a ton. Well over 1,000
to
pounds.
2,000, yeah.
Yeah, and they eat jellyfish, predominantly on jellyfish. Because the day I saw the two of them, I saw two in one day, there was just tons of these big lion's mane jellyfish, which are like this tall. I mean, they're just huge. The Shell Museum, that's all put back together. They just added one of those Seattle giant octopuses, and they've got a bunch of displays. This is an excellent museum, and if you're lucky enough walking along the beaches, you might find one of those Genonias. Generally, they still have the price tag on them, but you can decide that. This next shot is just for fun because it's a Cuban tree frog having a very bad day. Isn't that a great shot? My son took this in our backyard, and it made National Geographic shot of the day. It's a yellow rat snake, and that frog is saying, forget about it. It's funny he didn't go head first. Here's an insect. You have these around here, the two-striped walking sticks? Yeah, do you know the story of this is the male, and he actually can't even eat. She feeds him completely. It's a lot like my wife now that I think about it. And he is, well, but we're not doing that 21st century. I don't know how to explain this to you. There's a child in the problem. Anyway, that's very interesting, but we do see sometimes the females all alone, and I don't know what the deal is, but he'll live his entire life on her back, which, yeah, I get it. Okay. Goliath grouper, we really should capitalize on this. I'm just showing you some of the wildlife, some of the less known wildlife. You know that Lee County, probably now, and Collier County, are the world capital of Goliath grouper, which are way bigger than those Australian potato colonies. But we don't really promote it as much as we should, because there really should be a big dive industry around it. You can go down some of these offshore reefs like the Mohawk, you can see 20 or 30 of these things, and I caught one once that weighed 425 pounds. I mean, it was 7'2" long. We caught it with rope. I was with a marine biologist. They're very powerful. I bring up cabbage palms because cabbage palms are huge feeders because of those little dates. And the raccoons eat them, the rats eat them, the birds eat them, everything. It's a great bird. This one here I just put in because it's obviously an indigo bunting, but what a photo, huh? How in the world do you get that lucky?
Yeah.
I mean, it probably hit him in the head about 2 seconds later. But anyway, it was a good shot while it lasted. One of my favorite, if not most bizarre parks is Coruscant State Park down in, anybody been there? Oh yeah. What a weird religion. They called it Coruscant, insanity. But I love going down there, and I love going down there as much as anything for the Estero River, which you can go all the way out to Mountain Key and back, and great for kayaking, canoeing, and I like to put this slide up because, as you can see, this is a young breeding couple. Actually, now I have 2 kids, so I was dead on, I was spot on this one. Yeah, they look good too, I gotta tell you. Okay, so this was taken in Ding, but isn't that a great shot of a snowy? It appears he's eating some kind of a snail, isn't it? It looks like a snail. Yeah, but what a shot.
Flying snail.
We don't have these on Sanibel. We did at one point in time as Eastern Diamondback. And for those of you who don't know, that's the largest snake in all of North America until the Burmese python. And the Burmese python is 10 times bigger than that. But these things are actually they can be quite deadly. They can really mess with you. But you've got them around here.
It's part of the
I've never seen one in a while. I saw a timber rattler recently, but I've never seen one. And I'm okay with that. I really am. Lover's Key is a great place. Lover's Key has got all kinds of, by the way, if you can't make it to Sanibel or you don't want to pay the tolls, this is probably the 2nd best beach in Lee County to shell. It gets a lot of shell. And believe it or not, about 100 yards out, there's a kind of a limestone artificial reef you can snorkel if the conditions are good. I contacted all the park managers, and some friends of mine took this shot, and that's a baby sea trout in the mouth of a great egret. Of course, these you can see anywhere in Lee County, anywhere along the coast. The bottlenose dolphin, and that's a mom and her little baby, and they're just amazing. Offshore, I have the privilege of seeing pan-tropical spotted dolphin. Have any of you ever seen those? They're much smaller. Yeah, they're about a foot smaller, but they travel in big schools, 50, 60 of them, and they're much more friendly than bottlenose. They'll come to your boat from a mile away and ride the wake and stuff. They're fun. Well, we're gonna move to Sarasota County and start at the very top. And the top, and one of the best places that I consider, is Moat Marine. I mean, it started out 30, 40 years ago as basically a fish tank aquarium. And now it is really amazing. They've really improved it tremendously, and I love going there. They've got, that's a bull shark, our most common shark. Another really great place is Marie Selby Botanical Gardens, which have a fantastic orchid collection, and also a likely place where you're gonna see butterflies. Like I said, if you're interested in seeing, do you have scrub jays here?
Yes, in my yard.
In your yard, not very common.
Not
No,
always,
because
but
they tend to like scrub oak forests. The best place in the world to see them, in my opinion, is Oscar Shear State Park. And the best thing to do is don't shut up. I know this is such a weird tip, but as a birder, I gotta tell you, they are used to being fed, they're very acclimated to people, and we were deep into the park, looking all over for birds. I turned to Molly and I said, "Have you seen any?" She said, "No." And I said, "Well, let me just snap a shot of you real quick before he shits on you." Because they fly right up to you, and they land on your head, and they land in your arm.
Archibald Field Station's not far from here, and they've got 8 or 10 residents that will land on you.
Yeah.
They'll land in a tree 2 feet from your face.
Well, they're a member of the Crow family. I grew up in northern Minnesota. I'm originally from Duluth, and up just north of us, we have the Canada jay, and that thing is the same thing.
Yeah.
Even the wild ones will fly right up to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if they didn't get the memo. But my second favorite park, because I'll get to my favorite, Myakka State Park.
Yes.
What a treasure. If you want to see these big animals like white-tailed deer, wild boars, wild pigs, which are not native, but it's only the wild pigs that save the panther. Without the wild pigs, the panthers would probably be gone. But this is in Minnesota, this buck would be just a joke. It's about 110 pounds. You couldn't even, if you put it on your car, you'd be laughed at. Because in Minnesota, a big buck is 250, it's Bergman's law. But here they're like, and key deer, those are ridiculous. You know, you put one small key deer, that's dinner for 2. Little humor. Yeah, you gave me the look.
Keep here with the Chihuahuas and the deer family.
So, and one time because it's, Mayaca State Park is a huge oak and, single palm forest. That's all it is. It harbors more dang, in one day biking it down that main road, I counted 27 armadillos. All of them feeding on acorns and worms, whatever these things eat. They're kind of cool, aren't they? There's a giant one in South America.
They're not
There's still a
native
giant.
here, are they?
What?
They're introduced,
No, they got even though.
they're native?
Yeah, well, native is hard. That's kind of a misnomer in many ways, because they're not native, but you remember something about nature. It's extremely fluid, okay? It's one of the most fluid things imaginable, and they walked here from Mexico. Yeah, oh, it took them like 200 years, but they're here now. And they're expanding the range, as are possums. Possums are doing the same, coyotes are doing the same. This is one of my favorite places. It's the Venice Audubon Rookery. That is the goofiest of all preserves. Because you pull up, there's a fire station right next door. You'd think the fire trucks would make these woods. No, they don't care. They like it because there's a little island in the middle of a donut filled with alligators. So the alligators are the sentinels keeping the raccoons and the rats away. And you can watch them do their mating dances there and everything. It's just a fantastic place. We're on to Charlotte County, and they don't have a lot, but boy, they've got some big ones. They got this really, really big one. The Babcock Webb Wildlife Management, WMA. And people hunt and stuff in there. There's even a firing range. But there they have the red cockaded woodpecker. Look at this guy. Funny he can fly, he's got so many tags on him. That's blue, a green, and a blue. But that's a red cockaded. I've never seen one. Any of you ever seen it?
There.
There, that's where you gotta go. And that's what the book does. It does cross-reference every part to where you can find them. This one here is Cedar Point, and that's like a little museum, a very small, it's right on the bay, up in Charlotte County. But it's a beautiful little park. And there you might be lucky enough to see one of these scarlet tanagers, which are coming through right now, aren't they? The warblers are on the right now. Because I saw one the other day in my yard. I did a lot of warblers. And I didn't know this, but we have these. This is a striped skunk. Have you ever seen one?
I met them up close in person.
This is skunk.
Yeah. They'll spray you, won't they? They sting.
Oh.
They do stand.
I have,
Yeah, it is a skunk.
I have one in my house right now. I don't know how it got in there.
It's in your
It's
house.
in my house.
We're not going to her house.
And there's no scent. Dale,
You gotta get out
there's
of
no
there.
scent.
Really?
I don't know how it got in. I bought a trap and
Well, this
it's
is
an ongoing thing.
Well, if you want to see one, go to her place after. King behind the fridge.
But they're adorable. They're adorable. They're pretty.
Oh, yeah, they're not very
They
big.
stand on their paws and sway their hind legs and that their
That's
tails
what they do before
looks
it's
bigger.
Yeah, I'm gonna steer clear of that one.
Through themselves.
This is one of my all-time favorite photographs in the book. Just, isn't that just something?
That's a great shot.
The way he captured that.
Is he moving?
No, he's just lifting his leg. I think it's a little blue heron based on that, or what a tricolored herons. But he's selling. He's gonna go out and pick up a minnow or something. Another place I like to send people to is Babcock Ranch, which is really close to here. That's a great tour, and their enclosure with the Florida Panthers, really one of the best, because it's big, and you don't feel like it's a cage. Now we're into Collier County, and this is my all-time favorite. We were just there 2 weeks ago with Molly's sister, my brother-in-law. Yeah, I mean, how can you do better than Audubon Swamp, Corkscrew Swamp? It's just, the boardwalk is incredible, and you might, in August or July, see the ghost orchid. We went this last August of 2024, and and we got it just after the rain, and all we saw were these. The rain had knocked off the last two orchids. But it's a beautiful thing, and there you can also see, the painted bunting, which is really. Not far from there is another way less known preserve, called the Crew Marsh. Corkscrew Regional Ecosystem Watershed, I think is what the nickname is. There's 3 trails there now, and it's quite good. You might be lucky enough there to see a marsh hawk, right? There's another name, Eagle Hawk.
Northern Carrier.
Thank you, I knew it was there. My friends took this is what happens to a bird party of snowy egrets when a bald eagle flies by. Because that's what happened. A bald eagle flew low, and they all caught sight of it, and they just said, oh, we gotta get out of here. This one here, if you see this in the wild, call me, because, does anyone know what this is? It's a fossa from Madagascar. No, we did see one of those the other day. This is at the Naples Zoo.
Naples Zoo.
The Naples Zoo, I highly recommend, especially for kids, because it's just got so much great stuff in it. And all those lemurs, and the fossa is from Madagascar, and it hunts lemurs. It's in a class, and it is related to that, the other animal.
It's a feline?
You know what, no, it's not. It's in its own kind of separate thing.
It looks almost like a cat,
Yeah, it moves like a cat.
That's not
Real.
a cat face.
Right.
Yeah, it's strange looking, and they're about the same size as a bobcat, maybe a little smaller. Fakahatchee Strand State Park, I got in real trouble because in the book you're gonna see the caption is, Jane's Scenic Highway Speed Bump. Which didn't go over well with the Everglades, the National Park. They didn't think that was, no sense of humor. But this, I took this shot, and I mean, there was like, that was the 3rd or 4th one, just laying out in the road.
Did you live?
I did not take, Heather Green took this,
That's great.
but, and she's not colic. So there's the mom and 2 cubs.
If you get there at sunrise, it's not uncommon to see these guys.
Yeah, because there's
I've
a lot
got
of deer. and
50
pigs.
shots of them with
Wow.
various sized cubs.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
that,
gotta be there at sunrise.
yeah, well, good luck with that.
That's the challenge.
How many of you knew, honestly, that they're a Florida name?
Oh, yeah.
Everglades
Seen
name.
them, the pictures.
I've never seen one. I've met some people who have seen them, but I personally have never seen them. I guess they're becoming more plentiful, even despite the Burmese pythons.
Big Cypress is where they hang out.
The last one I saw was before Alvin Maria got built there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Where was
I
it?
thought you were gonna tell me there's one of them in your
Where was
house.
it?
You know that right where Alvin Maria is?
Yeah.
As you go west, it was in that big cypress smooth through there. Back where the old railroad bridge was.
Wow. Well, here's, this one is not suited for a petting zoo. This is a over 1,000-pound American crocodile taken by Dick Fortune and Sarah Lopez down in the Everglades. This guy is a true beast. It's like a 16-footer.
Are those 2 people still with us?
Yeah, that's a good telephoto.
Oh, he's so big.
But, boy, that's one scary view. But this is how you can, they don't, people sometimes think that they grow longer and longer, but in fact, it's girth that really determines how big they get, because they can handle a lot. And of course, down there are the Burmese pythons, which I have seen some. Do you have them here yet they're on their way.
Looks
You-
like the
you
deer
have
got
some.
the best of them.
And you've seen them? Yeah, they're on their way. I talked to Dr. Kenny Christo at UF, Wayne UF facility. And he told me they're gonna eventually make it all the way to Texas and the Dismal Swamp, Virginia. But it'll take 200 years. But they're unstoppable now.
Yeah,
That's the
they're,
bad.
according to the state biologist, the 10 is STA5,
Yeah.
they've been found there this year. So they're that far north.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and they don't get far because they crawl. As opposed to the dove, there's one ringneck dove, that thing is all the way to Canada because they can fly. But these things are slow, but boy, they are trouble. And they can go to over 200 pounds. One of my favorite places is Collier Seminole State Park, down in South Collier. And there they have the Black River, which is funny because many, many years ago before, when we first moved down from Minnesota, I really didn't quite understand how big of a problem tides can be. And we went down the Black River on a beautiful falling high tide that didn't stop falling, and then we had to go back. And there was no water, and it was screaming, what little was left was screaming. They came and rescued us. We were so, we were not gonna make it home, and the mosquitoes would eat you alive. There was Ellen Maltz took this shot at Don somewhere. What a shot. I think this is, wait a minute, I jumped into, yeah, this is the OK Slough.
That's the guy.
That's the OK Slough, yes. And I don't know why I don't have Henry, the map here, I should have a map here. Anyway, the OK Slough is, I think it's 30,000 square acres, 30,000 acres. Sanibel's only 12,000 acres. So it's, this one slough is, the slough itself is bigger than Sanibel, but the preserve, it's a WMA, isn't it? Wildlife Management?
No, state forest.
Is there state forest? But across the way is Spirit of the Wild. Yeah, that's a WMA. Yeah, and in the revised version of this book, I included Dinner Island.
Good.
But when I first did the book in 2011, when I published it, 2009, Dinner Island was mostly still cattle. But now-
Dinner Island is just about the same size as this, I think it's 26,000 acres.
Yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
they're right next door to each other.
Yeah, but aren't most of the cattle gone now?
Most of the cattle are gone, I was there about a month ago and I didn't see any cattle there.
Yeah, I knew there was a timeline.
Sorry?
But he has the leasing rights. Did they
They-
get
But
rid
they've,
of the-
they've taken them all out, there's no more
Really?
cattle there.
Okay.
That's
I was
good.
up there this year, they were there last year.
They were there last year, yeah, I was there about a month ago, and I didn't see any cattle.
That's good news. Well, I tell people, if you want to see this bird, this is where to go. The OK Slough in this general area. And this is in Dinner Island, yes. And this is a very popular bird. A lot of birds from all over the country come to Florida just to see this bird. My brother-in-law had never seen one in Florida, and we saw one coming out of corkscrew on 29 feet and, hits the road hill, because they are vultures. Another really,
What was that bird?
Crested
Okay.
Curlew.
Yes.
Yeah,
Now, that's what I had always, when I was a kid, they would call the Mexican buzzard.
Right.
they would call the Mexican buzzard. Yeah, I think that's one. They're all over South America. They're common, but there's 2 U.S. populations, one in Texas and one here in Florida, and it's permanent, they don't migrate. Another one of my favorite places, which has gotta be close to here too, is Fish Eating Creek,
Great place.
which is just a great place. Easy paddling, the river's, it's very slow flowing, you go up or down,
For birding,
yes?
right now is the best time because the river is always way down in late April, most of May. A lot of the warblers go through there, there's tons of birds in there right now.
Yeah, it's always a good place. When we were canoeing down there, I actually saw the largest alligator. This was not a shot of it, but it was about this size. I guesstimated it at about 700 pounds. And even though I know they don't tip canoes over, when we saw this alligator, this is how we reacted. We got the heck out of there. Because it was really scary, because this, it was about from here to Blackboard. I was taking pictures, and it was a good 14, 15 footer, as big as they get.
That's a big alligator.
It's a huge alligator, 500-600 pounds. And he slides into the water coming toward us. And I know it's not an African crocodile, it's likely not, but that doesn't matter. What you do is you paddle really, really fast. And he did kind of follow us out. I don't know if he was hungry or what. Here's another one that almost nobody knows of, which is that trail, the Lost Trail, around Lake Okeechobee. And, when I'm doing this presentation in Sarasota County, they don't know of these places. But this is an interesting place, except it gets really hot there. You gotta have a beautiful, cool day to enjoy it. But boy, you'll see you'll see Everglades, snail kites and limpkins, and a lot of birds. And I'm gonna switch now and talk a little bit about climate change. Is DeSantis in the room? Now, I always laugh at this because it doesn't matter how much they take it out of the textbooks, and take it has nothing to do with the physics. The physics don't give a damn what's in our textbook or what is proper or improper. It's just gonna happen anyway. This is an older measurement. It's over 420 now. And this, of course, we all know about. But I like the slide. So this is a typical hominid.
Is that DeSantis?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, I know it's DeSantis because of the next slide. You started it. Are there speakers here? Yeah, I like that. Don't you? That took me hours, by the way. Kind of an inconstant speaker you have. But we're going to talk about solutions. I have another presentation about surviving the storms, and I also get into this. And boy, this is one thing that's come way up. China actually last year deployed more solar panels than all the other countries in the world combined. And I mean, they're just doing it. They're going full steam ahead towards solar and renewable. And this is a solar map of the United States and the places where we could cash in now. One of the biggest solar places in the world is Germany. And look at it. That's all the orange they get. And most of theirs is blue. We should rule the world with solar, but you know, I don't want to get into politics. It would take all day. But wind farms are on the rise worldwide, and they really are. And the biggest rise are ocean-based, because the wind never stops. You get into certain places. Have any of you been through the Straits of, the one that goes into the Mediterranean, Gibraltar? There's wind farms on every single hill everywhere, because the wind never stops there. And that energy, it's amazing. Tidal energy holds great promise, but it's complicated. And wave, they're working on wave energy, but I think that's going to be even harder than tidal. The holy grail is, of course, fusion reactors. And I think it was France recently had one going for up to 2 hours, which is incredible. So this is our planet. There is no planet B. I have a T-shirt that says that. And you know, we got to really take better care of it, all of us. And I know that everyone here does that part, and I hope we continue to. Now I'm going to bust into a quick commercial and then do some Q&A. Alligators and Sharks and Panthers, I wrote that some years back. It won several awards. All I can tell you, it's creative nonfiction. Every story that starts ends with, because the sharks are on the alligators. But there are no proven Kruger or Florida panther mortalities. There never has been. They don't eat people. I will tell you a statistic though that just will blow your mind. So since like 1750, there have been 26 fatal cougar attacks in the United States and Canada, in North America, and most of them have been to children being taken, and that's the sum total. One leopard in India, the leopard of Punjab, killed 426 people alone. So all I gotta say is, thank God we don't have leopards. Because, you know, you don't go for nature walks in Africa. If you go for a nature walk in Kruger on your own with your binocs and your, oh look, there's a butterfly, goodbye. The leopard is gonna take you out, because you're like walking beefsteak. And why they don't do that is because we're so new to the new world, they don't know we taste like chicken. I also have available a sci-fi novel set in the near future, when the climate is out of control and solutions are wrought with trouble. That's an understatement. The Year of the Bat, it's a fun read. It's a novel about climate. And then this title is available this evening for $20, including tax. We can take Visa, MasterCard, hopefully, and Discover. Just see Molly, lovely Molly. Show the books, Molly. Show the books.
Hi, Molly.
We're going to leave it there. And I we'll take some questions and, answers. I'll make up the answers. But if you have any questions, go ahead, shoot away. Comments?
The locations you were just showing, the subtotal, is that your latest book?
Yes, yes, I revised the book in 2019 and took out a couple parks basically in Sarasota County because I wanted to do, oh, and there's another one that I should include that's in the new book. And it now holds the record for the most bird species sighted in the state of Florida, Salary Fields. Salary Fields right now has recorded more
Yeah.
species because they get the ocean birds because they're close enough. They get all the inland birds because they're inland enough, and they have a huge habitat. And it's kind of fun, that great big mound. I didn't include it in the original because when I went there the first time, they were still doing dirt bike races. And I don't know about you, but bird watching and dirt bike racing, not so nice, not a good mix. So it's in there now. Yeah, it has been revised. Any other questions? Comments?
Charles,
Oh, yes.
I just wanted to thank you because one of the other kind of fun announcements relates to your love of parks. Last year in Florida, our parks were in danger of some developments.
Yes.
So there's currently Senate Bill 80 and House Bill 209 right now, and they're almost kind of getting to be the same. There was an amendment to the House bill last week, which made it a lot better. So we can't put pickleball courts and golf courses
Yes.
and hotels in the parks
Right.
because
Good.
our Florida state parks are absolutely a treasure, and I thank you for celebrating it.
Oh, we're listening. Yes, you're discovering your house, yes.
About the wind power and the bird strikes with wind power.
Well, I do another presentation called The Changing Face of Nature and the Changing Place of Nature. And I'm gonna tell you something, and it's gonna bug you, but I'll tell you it's honest to God truth. There are a ton of bird strikes on the big windmills. And what we're gonna have to go through is a process of what I call unnatural selection. Because even though we're gonna kill piles of birds, we're gonna kill far less with that machine than with gas, oil, and coal in the long run. Because that's gonna make the earth fundamentally uninhabitable. And the windmills, the birds, okay, so a great example of unnatural selection. In 1917, 1915, there were approximately 500,000 white-tailed deer left in the entirety of the United States. Today there are 42 million, and probably now 42,200,000, 42,300,000. And why? Why are there so many deer? Because of unnatural selection. Because the minute a deer is hit by a car, he's out of the gene pool. And so only the deer that cross the crosswalks and the big bucks that can push that little button with the horn and get the green light. Honest to goodness, what we're seeing is the same with panthers. Unnatural selection will make panthers better and better at crossing roads. Because those that are bad are dead. And it's something that's gonna happen. And the windmills, the birds that survive will learn, don't go near those big white stupid things. It's just the way it is.
I just wanted to mention, I've been reading articles about offshore wind. It's kind of ironic and kind of sad that the currents, the wind currents are actually slowing down because of the warming Arctic, such that the wind turbines are becoming less effective.
Yeah.
So climate change is defeating one of its solutions.
Yes, yes. And all of this talk about sucking the carbon dioxide out of the air, oh, it's just such a dream until we get to fusion. If we get to fusion, we've got the solution. There's 300 gallons of gas in every gallon of salt water. And look around.
You know,
We've got a bit of salt water.
conservation is a concept too.
Yeah, it's vital. And I'm a big fan of, half Earth, all of that crap. But I do what I can, We all do the best we can to conserve and make the world a better place. The reason I put this together is to teach people how to love all their neighbors, including the people who just moved in from Ohio.